Hello everyone, this is a psychic prediction for March 2024. There may be some financial sorts of situations showing up for this month, and because of that I thought I would start with Bitcoin. So what I see for Bitcoin is the first half of the month looks pretty good actually for March. It is February 26th, and so we've got a little ways to go, and I think Bitcoin will do pretty well for the first half of the month of March coming up, and the second half, not so good. I think it's going to tank pretty hard, and March will not be great by the end, and then April will be even worse moving forward here. What's interesting actually is that 6 months ago, at least 6 months ago, maybe longer, I woke up and I wrote the date May 23rd. And I don't really know why I wrote it. I don't remember what it was supposed to be. But it does seem that around May, things may start to shift where it seems Bitcoin's going to kind of come down. And then around there, it seems like that's where things may start to go back up again, because June seems like that's where things start to get better, and then July it looks pretty good. In fact, around July I could see a possibility of reaching a brand new all-time high in Bitcoin. Now, I can't guarantee that, but it does look pretty good. Like, I would not be surprised if we saw a brand new high in Bitcoin in July. Although I don't think it's going to go really far past that for the rest of the year, but it does seem pretty positive overall. Of course, this is just a very generalized prediction for the rest of the year. I do far more detailed information on my Patreon page, so if you want to see all the details of Bitcoin and many other coins, you can see that on my Patreon page. Also, I did a prediction for the full year of 2024, and I was seeing this year as being the most difficult financially since 2020, when a lot of people were saying 2020 was going to be an economic collapse. I was saying, well, a slow, gradual one, and at the bottom of that will be year 2024. And I think March, I'm starting to see indications of that happening. And this is something I've been saying for months now, since before the year even started. I've been pointing out March, but I am not a financial advisor, so do not take this as financial advice. This is just what I see coming up. And of course, if you like this type of content, I always appreciate a thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up, and let me know that you appreciate this content, and subscribe for monthly predictions every month before the month. Moving on to the world, the first image that I was seeing when I was meditating on this was a bomb, and I wasn't sure if this was literal or symbolic, but it was related to Joe Biden. And so the way that I was interpreting this was a bombshell or bad news, possibly related to a bomb. So this is also related to Joe Biden, and I saw him looking very disappointed. It looks like a really bad month for Joe Biden, which is actually the opposite of what I said last month, which was a good month for Joe Biden. This seems related to foreign relations backfiring on him. I was getting the sense that there is some sort of failed operation in foreign policy that is losing money specifically for Joe Biden. I don't get the sense that this is World War III or anything drastic like that, so I wouldn't worry too much. But it does seem that enemies to the US and specifically Joe Biden are taking over, um, in the sense of financial implications, is what I was getting. I also got the sense of a money bomb. So I don't know exactly how to interpret that, but that's the message that was coming through for me. So a bomb potentially could be dropped around Yemen, is what I was getting, that goes poorly for the US. Although it's hard for me to say necessarily if this is literally a bomb or more of a metaphor of like a bombshell, so to speak, dropping. So, because of this, I wanted to tune into the United States and just what's going on with the people. And I was seeing people actually happy and cheering, especially in the first half of the month. And I got the sense that this was at least some of them, but other people in the US, not so much. It's as if old stagnant energy is starting to move. There's some sort of change taking place. For the first time in a very, very, very long time, where it's just like things are just kind of crystallized and stuck and stagnant in a certain way, and people have not been able to kind of see reality differently in a very long time. But it seems this is shifting in March. I was getting the sense that people are waking up to what is happening on the planet in this month and waking up to things which are not so good. The second half of the month seems much more dark, um, than the first half, but at the same time, people, because of this, are awakening from their slumber and kind of coming to terms with reality, I guess you could say. So, in some sense, there's that which could be interpreted as positive. Moving on to world politics, I was getting that there is continued bloodshed in Gaza, for the Palestinians, but at the end of the month, I know last month I said that heading into March would be less bloodshed, but it seems like it's actually the end of the month really where it kind of starts to shift, because I do see more bloodshed actually for the beginning and like 3/4 of March, but towards the end of it, it seems that that is around the time period where things start slowly decreasing in violence, although it's a very slow, gradual process. So don't expect it to be really noticeable at first. So for this month, it's gonna be a month with money on the mind, is what I'm getting. That's a big topic for the month. Although I don't see it becoming a particular issue that needs to be worried about, at least for people in the US, until later in the year. And of course, on my 2024, the prediction for the full year, I talk about how financial issues could be a challenge. And so this seems to be the start of that, but I wouldn't say that it's the darkest part of it yet for the year. This just is the beginning, of things shifting around. So, on a different note, regardless of money and things of that nature, what's been going on for a good while now, and what I was predicting like 6 months ago coming up here, um, around October of 2023, there's just been so many shifts going on, and that was also when this whole war with Gaza and Israel broke out, or Hamas, I should say. And although it's been negative, there's a lot of positive energy changes going on. And for March, I'm really seeing manifestations of these energy shifts taking on more of a positive aspect for people on a personal level. I'm not talking about the news and countries and world politics. I'm talking about on a personal level, because a lot of this energy has been disruptive, but it's now integrating more into the physical, denser, well, the denser, I want to say, vibrations, frequencies of physical matter. So things may start appearing differently for you. You may even physically look different. And that's something that I've been noticing just recently, and it's still February, it's not March yet, but even in February, I've been noticing that there's just a slight different energy to people, as if people are really changing. And I think this is going to really solidify in March. And you may even look at a picture now and compare it to like 3-4 months ago, and you might just kind of look like a different person just ever so slightly, or just be kind of giving off a slightly different vibe, or just feeling like a different person. And so this is a good time to really be manifesting your intentions from the past. It's not really something you can go back and change so much now. You can still make intentions, but what's happening is that those intentions from the past are really solidifying now. You're becoming more of the person that you wanted to be. So this month is really good for being goal oriented, and focusing on goals, in other words. Now, this month is interesting because it's not the typical stuff that I say is what's good for the month, which can be kind of cliche. This may sound a little almost aggressive, but the things that came through for me are being goal oriented, as I already said. Putting up a fight is good for the month of March. Standing your ground, getting what is yours, and not backing down. So this is a month really about, getting what you need and fighting for it if you have to. I don't mean getting more than what you need. Sorry, I can't talk. But getting what you need in order to be happy, comfortable, survive, etc. But of course, you can go too far in that as well. And that leads me to what is bad for the month. Not wanting to do good are the words that came through. And when I asked, what does that mean? The answer I got was getting yourself into trouble, like crime or something like that. So that would be the opposite, which is, well, that wouldn't be the opposite. That would be just an extreme version of getting what is yours. That would be getting what is not yours, I guess you could say. So don't do that. Also, what is bad for the month is trying to be too positive. That just isn't going to work for March, because there's a lot of, well, I guess you could say negative things, but I would say more challenging things, and things that you might not want to admit or say. And so trying to be too positive and trying to kind of ignore what's in front of you is not a good thing. So, toxic positivity is a thing, and that can definitely be something that you may experience people trying to pull off, but I don't think it's going to work very well for them in this month, because it's like they're going to try and be really positive in a situation and then just realize that it's not really the way that they want it to be. And that doesn't mean don't be positive. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just mean be realistic and positive. So, the other thing that this month coming up here is bad for is trying to be too sneaky. Again, that's kind of related to not wanting to do good or getting yourself in trouble. But more specifically, that you should stick with what is tried and true rather than trying to be too sneaky during kind of strange times, I guess you could call it. Okay, so what is the general advice for the month? The general advice for the month is stay low to the ground. In other words, don't stick out too much. Just kind of mind your own business. Get what you need and be happy. Trust your intuition. This may be a challenging month for many, but it doesn't mean it will be a bad month for you. And that is the advice for the month. I also just want to mention really quick that if you have used your free trial on Patreon, there is a way to get another free week on my Patreon. And if you have not done that yet, you can sign up on my Patreon page and sign up for free for a week. But you can create a new account, and I believe you may have to link that to a new card, a new debit card, or a new credit card. But if you want another free week and you're willing to go through that process of creating a new account and jumping through all those loopholes, well, then you've got yourself another week for free. And I don't care. I want people to see my content. I also want people to subscribe so that I can get paid for what I'm doing. But at the same time, if you're willing to go through all that effort, then you deserve a free week. So, I'm just putting that out there for you. So what's on my Patreon page? Well, I talk about a lot of conspiracy theories, although that doesn't imply that they're not true. Some of them are, some of them are not, and I do readings on them. I've been doing readings recently on controversial topics like fluoride, which isn't quite what you think. It's not really on one side or the other side. Both sides are a little inaccurate, actually, and I go over the details of that. Also, I touch on some of the claims from the medical medium. I also did a reading on how caffeine affects the human auric field and the spirit as well, your spirit, how it affects that within it being in the body or out of the body, and how caffeine interacts with your energy. I also talk about controversial stuff like aliens and world news. Believe it or not, world news is very controversial these days, and I cannot talk about a lot of that on my Patreon page. On my YouTube channel, I actually keep getting Google keeps notifying me, telling me that I am committing election interference, which doesn't even make sense at all. I'm a U.S. citizen, first of all, so shouldn't I be able to say whatever I want about politicians? Anyways, how am I interfering with the election? Regardless, better be careful what I say. I also do a lot of blind readings on people who I randomly pick, and I don't really know who I'm picking, and I just do a reading on that person, and then I look at their name and figure out who they actually are and do some research after I do my reading on them. And that's very interesting because then my prejudices don't affect or influence, or my assumptions cannot interfere with the reading. And these are very important figures in the world, politicians and people like that. So that has changed my views on the world. And yeah, that's very interesting for me. I also do crypto readings, of course, crypto predictions of all tons of coins, just ridiculous amounts. Um, I also offer on my website $35 readings for one question, and if you want more questions than one, the price actually gets cheaper as you add on questions. That is for the written reading option on my website, psychictai.com, psychictai.com. And if you see the website, you're going to want to scroll down to where it says written readings option. Click here. You want to click there, and then you'll see more information about the written readings and how to contact me to have a quick one question reading. Otherwise, if you want a full hour long one-on-one reading where you're actually interacting with me either on Skype or over the phone, that's going to be $130, but it's an hour long one-on-one session. So I just want you to know that there are cheap options, $35 a question. Now you know. All right, if you made it to the very end of this video, thank you so much, and please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up if you have not yet, and thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.